may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Pulling back the curtain, moving from hurting to healing. This coming week will be a great irony of sorts. Tomorrow, at the beginning of our work week, we will pause from our normal order of business to remember, to reflect, to celebrate, and to honor the life, legacy, the transforming nonviolent ethic and ministry of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. This man who taught us many things, both in word and in deed, and whose life's work and message can arguably be summed up in the singular and powerful idea of true, radical love. A love that moves people to truly love their neighbors as they love themselves, and to practice that love along the way until we all get it right. And then on the last day of this work week, we will again pause from our normal order of business to inaugurate one who has come to represent the very antithesis to the purpose and legacy of the Martin Luther King Jr. National Holiday. One who has risen to the highest office of the land on the horrible vitriol of hate, fear, and bigotry, the very opposite of what Martin Luther King Jr. and our ancestors fought and sacrificed their lives for. But the one thing the political season has shown us is that what many of us underestimated at first and once thought was impossible and far-fetched is somehow actually now possible and dangerously close. The climate and circumstances surrounding this time in our history has pulled back the curtain, has exposed what really lies in the hearts of our nation's populace, and has exposed what really lies in our own hearts as well. What we thought were past hurts, past prejudices, and past political ideologies and forces that had long been dealt with and that had been put to rest were in actuality lying dormant behind the curtains of Congress, behind the curtains of our cul-de-sacs and our communities that voted them into power. Indeed, the curtain has been pulled back, and what we have discovered, what we are discovering, and what we will continue to discover has been, is, and will continue to be quite hurtful on all fronts, both politically and personally. Yes, we have discovered that we are wounded, we are sick, and we are hurting, much like that ancient people of Judah in our text today, to whom the prophet Jeremiah speaks, as they too share in the painful experience of having the curtain pulled back on their national and individual lives. Like us, they were experiencing a divided and dangerous time in their history, up until this point in what has been recorded for us in the writings of the prophet Jeremiah, this sweeping prophet as he is known. Jeremiah has been preaching the word of the Lord to those ancient inhabitants of Judah. And as my Bible students will know, especially in our reading of the Hebrew prophets, the word of the Lord is not always a feel-good message. As a matter of fact, oftentimes the word of the Lord was actually quite the opposite. The word of the Lord was often one of rebuke and correction, and that is no different from what we find in our text today, to which this type of the word of the Lord is for good cause. For you see that those ancient people of Judah had gone astray and pulled curtains around their folly. They had gone off and worshipped other idol gods. They had falsified their uniquely identifying worship of the one true and living God, and had turned to worshiping idols made by the works of their own hands. These people, they had neglected the law of the Lord. They allowed the scales of justice to be corrupted. These ancient inhabitants of Judah, they refused to care for the least of these among them, that is, caring for the sick, the poor, the widows, the orphans, and the strangers in their midst. And while all of these things were happening on the political front of their nation, their personal front was affected as well. They pulled the curtains around the corridors of their hearts, as verse 4 of Jeremiah chapter 8 says, they had fallen and not gotten back up. They had gone astray and had not turned back. Verse 11 says, they have said, peace, peace, when there is no peace. They did all these things getting too comfortable by resting on their legacy as a nation, thinking that just because God Almighty lived in Zion, their capital, that they could just get away with doing any old thing that they wanted to do. But now, all their curtains had been pulled, that they had pulled around their folly, were now pulled back, exposing all that was hidden behind them. But before we demonize these ancient people of Judah and trick ourselves into thinking that this was only an ancient problem, we must be honest about what's behind our collective curtains as well. If we are honest about it, we will find that we too are in a not so dissimilar place. For while Judah may have gone astray and worshipped handmade wooden idols, we have gone astray, worshiping our own money, our own power, our own material successes, and the false superiority of our plans. While Judah may have neglected the law of the Lord, we have witnessed our justice system neglected as well, breaking down across all areas, from blatant racists being appointed and considered as Attorney General, to allowing renegade cops to be the judge, jury, and executioner. And while Judah may have refused to take care of the widows and orphans and strangers among them, we have voted 227 to 198 to repeal affordable health care, with no real viable replacement that will no doubt affect real people with real health conditions who will face real and imminent sickness and real death if they don't receive the proper medical attention. And while Judah may have allowed all of these things to happen because they were resting too much on their history with God, thinking that God was just going to remain with their land and keep blessing them and they could do whatever they wanted to do, we have likewise gotten too comfortable with our doctrine of national doctrine of manifest destiny, thinking that just because we have amassed all of our American wheel weaponry and wealth, that we can do whatever we want to do. But before we demonize all people of a certain political persuasion or racial identity that may be different from ours, we must be honest with ourselves too. For just like those ancient people of Judah and just like the people in our nation, we too have pulled the curtains around some areas of our own lives. We have swept some stuff under the rug. Whether it's our personal prejudices, latent hate that we harbor towards other groups of people, or the refusing to deal with some embarrassing parts of our past. We have pulled the curtains around and we have put other things in our lives before God, whether it's our plans, our jobs, our relationships, or even our money. We have pulled the curtains around and we have refused to deal with our hurts. Whether it's hurt in our families, hurt from our disappointments, hurt from our shattered dreams, hurt from our frustrations, or even sickness and hurt in our physical bodies. And now the curtains have been pulled back. And just like Judah, we have been exposed and we have found that we are really wounded. We are really sick. And we are really hurting. But the good news today, church, is that our God desires to heal us. And our God desires to make us whole. If we are to be healed, if we are to be made whole, there are some things that we must do. First of which is we must, number one, settle our pride. Oftentimes we are so busy hiding behind our curtains because we want to keep up our good appearances. We want to look like we're doing good, like we've got it all together, like nothing can faze us. We have these false images of ourselves, these delusions and deceptions of grandeur, and we think that we're undefeatable, that we're unstoppable, that we're even Superman or Superwoman, and that nothing can hurt us or overwhelm us. So we take on the makeup to give the appearance that we're flawless. When in actuality our self-esteem is quite low. We put on nice suits and ties to give the appearance that we're strong and in charge. When in reality we are weak and insecure. We talk a good game. We talk so strongly using all of our big GRE and SAT words to give the appearance that we're always articulate and rational. We really just want to scream and cry sometimes. The same could be said on the national scale. We choose sides. We choose political parties and their political platforms over people to give the appearance that we're stronger, that we're more right than the opposition, that everybody else is wrong, and that certain people are more valuable and deserve more than others. But church, if we are going to move from our hurting to healing, we've got to settle our pride. Settling our pride means coming to terms with the fact that we are human. And that being human is okay. Part of being human is that we are susceptible to being hurt. Part of being human means that we're not always going to get it right. We're not always going to be strong. We're not always going to be well. That a part of being susceptible to hurt means that we also have the potential to be healed. Since we have the potential to be healed, initiating that potential to be healed is our responsibility. For while God desires for us to be healed and to be whole, God does not force anything upon us either. including wholeness and healing. If we are to move from hurting to healing as individuals, as a church, and as a nation, we must acknowledge our own humanity. We must acknowledge our shared humanity. We must acknowledge our hurt. We must acknowledge that we do indeed need healing. And again, we must settle our pride. But staying in our pride will not only further and keep us in our hurt, pride will cause hurt people to pretend like they are well. And we all know that hurt people hurt people. We will live beneath our potential together as individuals, beneath the healing and wholeness that Christ desires for our lives. And we would do well, church, sooner rather than later to settle our pride, to humble ourselves, to realize that the curtains have been pulled back anyway, and the only two options are to either stay hurt and exposed, or to move towards health and wholeness. And as we come to settle our pride to experience health and wholeness in Christ, we must secondly and finally submit to the physician. Well, the prophet asks, is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? It's not because he is inquiring due to his own ignorance. The prophet is asking because he is confused, that since he knows there is a balm in Gilead and that there is indeed a physician there, why then are his people still hurt? That's why he asked his next question, why then has the health of my poor people not been restored? Sisters and brothers, inasmuch as we can't heal ourselves, inasmuch as we can't make ourselves whole, and inasmuch as our healing and wholeness only comes because God works it within us, just like any good physician who prescribes medication and a course of treatment for their sick patients to follow, while our healing and wholeness comes from God, our healing and wholeness is not going to be fully realized without our participation in the process as well. Because healing is often not a one-time event. Healing is a process. And healing requires our partnership with God. Healing requires that we settle our pride. That we go over to Gilead and that we follow the physician's orders. Healing requires that we do what the physician tells us to do. How the physician tells us to do it. When the physician tells us to do it. For how long the physician tells us to do it. This doing what the physician tells us is not simple, blind obedience. But it's a following of instructions, and it is a trust in the instructions that the physician gives us based on a comprehensive understanding of our situations and our needs. And that in following the physician's orders, as written and told to us, being faithful to his commands, will bring the appropriate medicine to our hurt areas, and that once that medicine's work has been completed, will bring us to health and wholeness. That is to say that we must follow the word of the great physician. We must be faithful to the commands and to the love of our great and just healer, God, who has seen behind our curtains and knows exactly what we need to be made whole. For there is a balm in Gilead. If we just go there, settle our pride, and submit to the physician. For there is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the resin of the trees. This balm in Gilead is able to heal all manner of hurt, sickness, and disease. There is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to fix the heart of our nation. There is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to bind up the wounds of the oppressed and afflicted. There is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to make our communities more just. There is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to put our families back together again. There is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to restore our shattered dreams. Church, there is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to foster hope and joy and peace. There is a balm in Gilead, flowing there from the trees to move us and to move you from hurting to healing. For this balm in Gilead that flows from the trees brings joy, health, and gladness. This balm in Gilead, flowing from the trees, brings peace, righteousness, and justice. For while this balm in Gilead flowed from the trees in Jeremiah's day, the reason it flowed with healing power then was because of the hope and the promise that there would be one day, one ultimate tree from whence healing and wholeness would flow. That one day, thousands of years later, and 2,000 years ago, that on the cross of Calvary, on the tree of Golgotha's mountain, the blood of one was shed there. His blood was shed for our sins. His blood shed for our diseases. His blood there shed for our transgressions. Bruised for our iniquities. Punished so that we be restored to good health. We need to go. We need to be restored to peace. We need to go. Because there is healing waiting for us. We can go now.